All right, welcome everyone back to the July meeting of the Hampton Ship Model Society. Kevin's going to do a demonstration for us on making rope and serving it.
Right.
Kevin, take it away.
All right. Okay. Welcome. I'll be honest with you. I'm nowhere near as proficient at doing this as what Chuck Pissarro is, because he uses it as a business to make all this stuff. But I think I can do pretty well. If you want to kind of take a look at some of the examples, you can kind of pass these around. These are just different examples of what I've made on my little rope walk. Maybe you can pass them around to see what you kind of maybe you can achieve with a little rope walk. And one of the nice things about it is the only thing that really limits the length of piece that you make is how much space you have to set out your tailstock and headstock for your rope making machine. It was really kind of interesting in doing some research for the presentation this morning. Some of the rope walks that have been in existence for different shipyards over the years. I was looking at the one that Chatham Dockyards has been in continuous operation for over 400 years, and it's still in operation today. And it is a 1/4 mile long for the rope walk that they have there. And it's just amazing. I saw some videos on how they were making the rope there, and it is just amazing to watch them do that. And I guess, in the heyday of sail, they were saying that the HMS Victory requires some 31 miles of cordage to fully rig the ship. So, just the amount of cordage that they would have had to manufacture to rig just the one ship is pretty amazing. And again, I don't know how well, a lot of you guys would be wanting to make your own cordage, but if you want to add just that little bit of extra detail to your rigging, this would probably be the best way to do it, is to go ahead and spin your own cordage. That way you can use whatever diameter coils that you want to make, whatever material that you want to make. Some of the materials that are included with the kits today may not be the best looking material or best kind of material to use for rigging, so you can buy your own. I use a combination of it's like a cotton polyester blend thread that I use for my rope making. There is stuff out there available. It's like a linen polyester blend. I think that's what Chuck Pissarro uses in his cordage. Just kind of depends on what you want to do. But it's a very simple process, and there's really not a lot of tools involved in making your own cordage. The most complex part of it is your rope walk machine. The one I have is the one that's produced by Model Expo. Comes in a little kit, and you can put it all together. The drawback with the one from Model Expo is you can only do 3-strand line, whereas there are some cases where you might want to do either 3 or 4-strand rope. The one reference material that I was looking at, basically for the running rigging that you're going to install on a sailing ship, would be 3-strand rope, and the standing rigging would be 4-strand rope. So if you want to get into that extra level of detail, you probably want to go ahead and use one that has the capability of making 4-strand rope as well. If you, I know Ryland was talking about the one that Chuck Pissarro makes. His does have the capability of making either 3-strand or 4-strand rope, depending on what you want. Now, just a kind of very quick demonstration here, I've got this one set up so that I'm making a 3-strand piece of rope, and then each strand of rope will have 3 threads in it. Now, if you want just a very tiny piece, you can just use a single strand of thread for each part of your rope, or depending on how large you want to make it, you just increase the number of threads in each strand of rope that you're going to be making. As an example, the one piece that I have here, I started out, the material that I'm using is number 10 hemp jewelry cord. And this actually has a total of 27 threads in the 3 strands for making this piece of rope here. And where I'm using this, or planning to use this, is I'm working on a 1/12 scale model of the African Queen. This is the rope bumper that goes around the hull of the African Queen. Because the one that came in the kit was way too small and just had a really tacky color to it. So,
Are those 3 strands woven first, or are you putting just
Yes.
3 strands in?
what we'll do is, okay, like I said, there's 3 threads here. The first part of it is you will twist these 3 threads into a single strand, and then you will twist the 3 strands into your final rope. And I can go ahead and start by that. And just kind of remember, if you do this, as you're twisting the threads into a strand, it will reduce the length of it. So you'll have to kind of just keep a hand on it and, kind of keep the tension on it as you're going down. But essentially, now also, one of the nice things about this too is you can either do left-handed twist or right-handed twist rope, depending on how you want to make it here. Now, for what I'm going to be doing, I'll go ahead and do a right-handed twist on this. For doing that, on this, you'll notice that there's some arrows for direction on this. I'm not sure why Model Expo did it, but if you follow the direction of the arrows, you actually end up with left-handed twist rope, not right-handed twist. So for the example I'm going to do today, I'm going to do the right-handed twist. So I'm going to be doing it against the arrows. So you just basically start, and you can see the hooks here are twisting around with the gears to actually start twisting those threads into a single strand. And you just kind of keep twisting, and what you're mainly looking for when you finally end up is the twist on your strand should be at about a 45-degree angle to the main run of your line going down here. And you just kind of keep doing that. Just kind of try not to get it too twisted up. And a lot of it is just more kind of a feel and just experience over time. And again, I'm not probably the most experienced at doing it, but actually it comes out pretty well. You can kind of notice it is kind of creeping down a little bit as they're being twisted up.
How do you determine how much twist you want?
A lot of it is, like I said, what I'm looking for is, when I'm looking at this piece, I'm looking to see that the twist is at about a 45-degree angle to the main run of your rope down through here. And about there. And what you really don't want is you don't want it to kind of start kinking up in here.
Yeah.
Looks pretty close right about.
Is that twisting evenly along the length of it? Or?
Yes, yeah, it does an even twist all along, and you can kind of, if you guys want to kind of come up and take a look at it as I'm doing this, you can kind of see how it is twisting along the whole length of it.
You just keep the pressure on that.
I'm just keeping my hand on it to keep the tension on it as I'm twisting it. And then once I get it to where I want it, I'll go ahead and clamp this end back down.
How do you know when to stop?
It's kind of a lot of guesswork, to be honest with you. And like I said, if you can really kind of see, you can see how these 3 threads have been twisted together into a strand. You can kind of see the way that the twist is on it.
Yeah, just barely.
Right. And unfortunately, like I said, it's some pretty small stuff to look at. Now, when Chuck Pissarro makes his rope, he doesn't use anything like this disc. And what will happen is, as he starts spinning the strands into the rope, it actually starts the twist in about the middle and then kind of works out. The videos that I've seen online for the larger rope manufacturers, they have a little piece that keeps the strands separated, and then as it twists, it will start at this one end and then kind of go down as you do the twisting on it. I just been kind of experimenting with it just to kind of see how well it works out and see if it works any better or not. But what you'll do here is go ahead and put this in, get your strands lined up in the little grooves here, and then go ahead and start kind of get it. Come on now.
And in the old days, most of the time, thing in the middle, it had on top, on the bottom, some guide where it's traveling.
Right. And yeah, the ones that I've seen, like the one at Chatham, it actually has like a frame that goes on
Yeah.
either side of it and then follows it the whole way down the
Following,
road.
that's
Um,
I've seen them like bullet shaped too.
Yeah, and this, like I said, I probably could really kind of refine this a little bit, but just for what I'm doing, this, see,
First pass.
yep. So, and I'm kind of still experimenting with using this also, so I'm not the most proficient at this stuff. And
A lot more professional than the rest of us.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, as you can see,
Wow.
as I'm twisting it, it actually is turning it into a 3-strand piece of rope.
Yeah.
And again, what you're looking with your finished product also is that the twisting on here should be at about a 45-degree angle to the main one of your piece.
You would still leave both ends clamped or?
Yeah, for right now. And then what I'll do is actually once I finish twisting it, before I take it off of here, I'll actually seize it just to kind of help keep it from. It does untwist a little bit, but I'll actually go ahead and seize both ends of it before I cut it off there, just to
Yeah.
hold it in place. Just And then another trick that Chuck says he does with his as well before he takes it off is he'll actually take a little bit of water and kind of dampen it while it's under tension. And that kind of helps to hold the twist in place also.
If you go to Siren Ship Model Company website,
Yeah, he has a couple of videos on there
Yeah.
that really shows how he makes it.
Yeah.
And again, commercially, he makes this stuff in like 20-foot long lengths all day long, and he can probably finish a piece of this in about 5 minutes, with what he does. But the rope walk that he's using, it's not hand cranked. He actually has a little drill that he hooks up to it and uses the drill to do all the twisting with. So it takes him a fraction of the time to do all the twisting that what I've shown you here. And depending on how much you want to make, if you want to invest in something, I don't feel comfortable using a drill bit for running this thing. But if somebody else, once you get a little bit more experience making the cordage and being able to use a drill bit,
see, he's mass produced.
right.
Yeah. I actually, I got one of these from Model Expo, but I'm sorry, from Siren. I sent him an email asking, said, I'd like to try to get the lines of cordage that I would need for, the Constitution, one for the Siren and one for Morgan. Told me, he says, if you buy these lines previously made, like this, he says, each one of these for each model is gonna cost more than the model itself costs to buy the cordage. And I thought, wow, that's what a statement.
When Chuck reopened his line business, he had changed his formula. He's not using the linen or whatever he used before.
He's gone to a poly cotton.
Right, because he
Yeah.
lost that source. He's also stopped making black altogether because he said they never were black. They were tarred in kind of a deep brown.
To do the seizing on the end of it,
I talked to Chuck Passaro there a while back, and he said that the new material that he uses makes actually nicer rope than the old stuff.
It's not fuzzy.
Yeah, so it's
And it doesn't stretch like the cotton does, and so your lines won't sag as.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna have to re-rig my longboat. I got linen.
Are you just seizing that now to keep it from?
Yeah, I'm just seizing it now to keep it from untwisting once I take it off of here.
If you use that beeswax on these lines like this, after you repair them, would that help any?
Doesn't help the
Um,
linen from sagging. It helps the linen from sagging if you use polyester. It probably doesn't matter.
So when you're finished with this and you take it off, you're typically gonna cut it, right? To fit the length you're gonna need.
Yes, yeah. And after
In
a
which
while,
case, the seizing is not gonna work, at
well,
least at one end.
after you let it set for a little bit, it'll get to the point where it won't unravel
Unravel.
as you take it off of here.
People leave them hanging with a weight on it for a while.
Stretch it a little bit.
I thought I remembered reading something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I thought that kind of helped it set also.
But if you're gonna
Well, it's
cut it
just-
anyway, wouldn't it be just as easy to put a dab of cryoacrylate or glue on it? Yes,
That would work too.
yeah, it'd be easier, and if you're gonna cut it
Well,
anyway.
depends, some stuff doesn't glue, but yeah. if you can-
Now, I've used this product called Mow Rope, and you talk about something that'll unravel. You snip that line, and it just
Yeah,
it is the hardest thing to work with.
yeah,
Is
it's junk.
I don't know if y'all have seen it, but Gorilla Glue now has these things for the, I call it super glue. I don't know what else, CA or whatever it is. But anyway, what it has is on the sides of these things for the dispenser, you squeeze it just a little bit and you get exactly the right amount that you want on it. And I've been using that for the planking, and I tell you, that's good stuff.
Loctite has the same kind of dispenser too. It's just you can squeeze the size of it to push it out. It's a bit easier than squeezing the bottle. It's a bit more accurate.
I think it's only 2 ounces in it, but
I don't.
I'm afraid to use mine because.
Well, that's one thing with CA. You always buy the smallest.
yes, because it'll harden.
Yeah, and it lasts forever. You don't need. I think the first time I bought a 4-ounce bottle of it, and you can't even buy it in 2 ounce anymore. I think they point half an ounce. I think it's used to sell it like half ounce, little small bottle.
But yeah,
I can't
Gorilla
get it
Glue,
anymore.
if you go to Lowe's or something like that, they've got it. So I buy 6 or 8 of them at a time. Go and get it. It's very good. It's very precise.
The dispenser.
Or dispenser, yes, sir. At Lowe's.
It lasts a long time. Nice refrigerator.
Yep.
I'm buying it, I haven't seen anything.
No, they got that little side thing. It's orange. Pounds on the side of it. Squeeze that. I tell you, that's a godsend.
It seems to help.
Really?
It forms a better seal or something. I don't know, because I opened up my bottle of Loctite as the same dispenser and I haven't touched this in 2 years. And I got a nice flow of glue coming out of it. It hadn't dried up at all. It might push it out from the bottom or something like that, so there's no air inside, like a bottom up kind of
I
thing.
store them upside down also.
Yeah.
I used mine one time, and I guess a year or so later, I was using it as hard as a rock.
Yeah.
I'll go just kind of pass that around. That's finished product.
Kevin, on the initial phase, when you were tensioning it slightly as you were winding first course, is there constant pressure or is it variable?
You maintain a constant pressure on it, because it does, like I said, it does shoot a little bit as you're twisting the threads into the strand. So you want to kind of maintain a constant pressure on it just to keep the tension on it. And then once you get it twisted, the strands twisted to where you want it to, you go ahead and stop, leave the tension on it, and then go ahead and clamp it back down.
Or why wouldn't you bring up a fully in a weight?
You could. I've seen YouTube videos where,
Quantify how much weight is.
Right. and I guess depending on how long of a piece that you're going to be making, depends on how much weight that you want to put on the end of it. But yeah, I have seen videos where people have done that as well, where
One guy
they'll actually have
has,
it hanging off the end of a pulley and then having a weight on it that maintains the tension on it.
One guy has traveler that's on gear. So as it rolls along, it's winding up the weight to keep it, you know, 'cause otherwise you get the wrong.
Yeah, that way you can
Length or
maintain a
whatever.
nice constant pressure.
Right. Right. And a lot of it, something like this is just, you know, kind of, I know when
Well,
Chuck
it's-
does his, he does it by hand. And again, he's got it, you know, kind of down to a science where he knows how far it should shrink as he's doing a certain length of rope. So he's got it, all the markings on his table for when he does
We
that.
have to take into consideration my mantra. Anything worth doing.
That's what I would do. It's
Well,
actually,
and that's kind of the why you might want to make your own stuff is because, like I said, if you want that extra level of detail in your model,
Sometimes you can't get the right size.
right? So, all right. Any questions on making the cordage itself?
What size was the thread you used?
What I was using there, it is, it's the, I buy it at Walmart. It's in the sewing section. It's the button and craft size thread. It's a little bit heavier thread than the all-purpose stuff. So if you want to make something a little bit smaller, you use all-purpose thread instead of the button.
Joanne Fabric has a lot of stuff that works really well, and when I talk with these guys in Siren, that's where they recommend that I go and get the line that I've got that I'm gonna use to make it. Cool.
What did you say?
It's Joanne Fabrics.
Okay.
They've got 50 bazillion types of thread there.
It's a sewing shop.
Right. And like I said, I just get mine at Walmart because, you know, for what I need it for, the stuff at Walmart works well for my needs. But like I said, if you want something a little bit smaller diameter, different colors, different materials and stuff like that, yeah, you know, Joanne or any other, even a fabric store.
And if you go in there, because I don't have a clue what I'm buying, so I asked the ladies that work there, work with this stuff, and they know exactly what type of line you need. And it's worth making a trip with Joanne Fabric.
I presume that says what it's made of.
Yeah, this is a, it's a 70, it's like a 76% polyethylene, 25% cotton.
Yes, it says on it.
Yeah, it says on there what it is. It's a polyester cotton.
So
And
if I
that's-
wanted to decrease the diameter of the rope instead of maybe 3 strands, go to
Correct. Or even one on each one as well would make it even that much smaller.
2013, they have a couple of years.
Again, now I think on this piece here, you know, it comes out to about the same diameter as the one I just made. But I believe this one has, I think this one has 27 threads of all-purpose thread. So you can kind of see the difference. Just, you know, it's about the same diameter finished, but the starting material is different and the number of threads in the rope are different. And like I said, it's just kind of up to your imagination what the finished dimension you want to make is and how you want to make it.
When you said 27, you didn't go through the process 9 times, did you?
No, what I did is,
You already have like 3 strands.
well, what I did is on each of the 3 hooks, I put nine threads
Okay.
going back and forth.
So twisted the 9 together
Twisted the
first.
9 together first into the 3 strands, and then twisted the 3 strands into the final rope dimension.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had it on.
And in fact, like some of the videos I've seen at Chatham, some of the larger ropes that they make, they you know, over 30 yarns into an individual strand, and then, you know, the strand itself comes out about that big around, and then they take 3 of those to twist into a piece of rope. Yeah.
The thing with Chatham is, they were to start out with the rope over 1,000 feet long. It has something to do with the leads, like they had a, you know, the anchor rope and everything was like 720 feet.
Mhm.
It would splice it to make it longer, but the basic
Right. Yeah.
thing was 720 feet. When they start out, it's a little bit over 1,000 feet long.
Well, the rope walk itself at Chatham is a 1/4 mile long.
I've been there, I saw it, actually, it's noisy as hell when they operate.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what they want to end up with, 720 feet of rope.
Right.
And to start out with, it's a little more than
Right. 1,000.
a
Right.
1,000. No, I could, yeah, it's gotta be feet, it can't be yards.
Right. Right.
But, yeah, it's sort of interesting. But it's very noisy, and it's fast, well, of course, it's motorized now. But they still make rope and they sell it.
Yeah. Now, okay, are there any questions on the actual making of the cordage before I get into doing the serving of it?
That's gonna be interesting, serving. I have, if I could just, maybe it'll help lead into it, but I'm looking at bringing it from the rat lines from the deck up to the mast, around and back down. I don't understand how I'm gonna do the serving on
Okay,
those.
what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to serve the line before you install it.
Can you get the measurement that accurate?
Pretty close. Now,
Well,
also too is for a lot of the shrouds, if you look at, I've got a book on it's George
It's
Biddicombe's
just a
Art of
cross.
Rigging. The shrouds don't get 100% serve.
It's just a first shot.
On a group of shrouds, the foremost shroud gets served 100%.
Yeah.
The rest of them are just where it goes around the masthead and where it goes around the deadeye. Everything else is left unserved. Now, I don't. Now, that's for a lot of the military style ships. I don't know if the whaling ships would have done the same
Probably the
process
same
or
thing.
not.
It's basically where it would get chafed.
It's the chafing
Yeah,
process,
the
and
sails-
that's
the
that
sails
was the
are-
main purpose behind doing the serving, was to keep the chafing down on it. Plus, it also served as a weather protection as well. I'll kind of just kind of introduction to that. I'll kind of go ahead and start passing this around as well. Now, as a modeler, we don't go into all this for serving a length of cord, but on the real ships on a shroud, they would first start out by a process called worming, which what that does is that takes material and basically fills in those gaps between the strands on there, and then gets it a little bit a smoother surface. And then they would take tarred canvas and then actually wrap that around. And important to note with the worming and the parceling, which is the wrapping of the canvas, goes with the lay of the rope. So if you've got a right hand piece of rope, it would, go with that twist on the rope as it goes down. And then when you got ready to do the serving, you would actually go against the lay of the rope when you do the serving. And what that does is that helps compress the fibers and keeps everything nice and tight in there, so that as the rope stretches, it still keeps all that nice and tight on there and helps protect the rope better.
What's the short rhyming poem that
Okay. Worm and parcel with the lay and turn around and serve the other way. So again, when you get into serving, what you've got to watch out for too is if you have either right hand twist rope or left hand twist rope, you serve it in a different direction. Now the piece I've got on here is this is a piece of left hand twist. So with a left hand twist rope, you would actually start on the right side of your serving machine and go from right to left. Whereas with a right hand twist piece of rope, you would start on the left side and go left to right to get it to go against the leg properly. I'm going to pass that around.
Yes, sir, thank you.
and the lays are cable laid and hauser laid, is that right?
Well, there's actually three, and this is the reference that I have for that is Darcy. It's the
Darcy Lever.
Darcy Lever, the young sea officer sheet anchor.
Yeah.
The three categories that he uses is hawser laid, shroud laid, and cable laid. Whereas like the hawser laid is most of your running rigging, which is a 3-strand line. Shroud laid is your 4-strand line for your standing rigging. Both of those are right-hand twisted. When you get into the cable laid, it's built up a little bit differently but the cable laid is a left-hand twist. And that's
For serving, there's a little ditty that they used to use. Worm and parcel with delay, serve the line the other way.
correct.
Yeah.
Go ahead and just, again, even, doing the serving is actually, goes pretty quick with, this is a little machine that Chuck Pissarro sells on his. Kind of one of the important things with this is the line that you're serving, you want to keep it fairly taut so that the serving goes on there relatively snug. And I'm not sure if I start off again using a clove hitch to tie the serving line on here. I'm not sure if that's actually the correct way, but it works for me. And then I just kind of go ahead and use, the nice thing about this is you can use your finger to go ahead and start turning the serving on here. I've seen some of these that are actually motorized, but I just don't feel comfortable using something that's motorized. I'm a lot more comfortable doing something this by hand.
Chuck Pissarro likes to call me the impatient modeler. And I actually have a YouTube video of me power driving that with a drill, and it's pretty satisfying.
Okay.
Although those wood gears aren't up to that kind of RPMs.
Right. Yeah, he definitely does not recommend you motorizing this serving machine.
It doesn't take that long to serve.
It really
2 or
doesn't.
3 inch.
Yeah, so far I've probably done about, a 3/4 inch section here on this. And I can go ahead and just, if you guys want to kind of come up and take a look at it just to see it. It may be a little bit difficult with the darkness of the material, but you can kind of see where, I kind of started about here and done about a 3/4 inch section of this piece to do the serving on it. It really, like I said, it really doesn't take very long to do. It's kind of just, which is why I kind of had another piece. What did I do? Another piece here, where you can see, I used a different color on there. And you can see the serving on there. No, using the same machine.
Yes. Wow. Kevin, if you got a minute after you're done with everybody, I have a couple of questions.
Sure, absolutely. And then again, once you finish serving a section of your line, and I usually finish it off with a clove hitch. And then if you want to, just put a small dab of glue on the clove hitch to hold it in place.
Can we move it over here?
Sure.
Just for a moment.
Yeah.
Apparently tension is important. When
It is because what you're doing also, you're kind of slightly compressing the fibers of the rope that you're serving. So you do want to keep tension on the thread that you're using to serve the rope with. In fact, when they on the actual practice, it's pretty tough to see.
Black on black, but yeah, that's the served portion right there.
Put the tension on it as they're wrapping around.
Yeah, that's why I assume taking it down the scale, you put.
Now this
It
might
shows up.
this might kind of show it up a little bit better here to kind of see.
But it has a certain.
Where's the focus point?
Kind of a similar size piece. So, and again, as far as what parts of the lines get serviced and what don't, again, I'm not that proficient on it. I would say look at some of the different rigging sources, and they're a little bit better on telling what parts of the shrouds and stuff get serviced and what don't. But this is just kind of a quick example of the process and the level of detail that it would give to a model.
got a short length of a line in there. You want to serve something longer, just the ends of it, something that's much longer.
All you would do there, and that's kind of what, you got some fails on the end here. If you have a longer piece, you would just wrap it around to kind of take it up, to get it out of the way, and then that's what the clip is on the end for, just to kind of help clamp it in place. And then the same thing on the other end, you've got nails on it, you can wrap it on there to, so as you're progressing along through it, you just move that section of rope through the machine to finish serving.
I gotta find it therapeutic. doing that.
Yeah. So, all right. Any other questions?
Pretty good.
Nice job, thank you.
Awesome job, Kevin. Thank you.
Very nice.
Inspirational.
Any questions from online at all?
Very nice. Very impressive. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. It was well done.
I have the Siren ship model site pulled up that shows how this is done also.
Okay.
Anybody's interested.
Riley, how much are they asking for that rig right there?
The serving machine, I think, is about $45 or $55.
Yeah, it's like 55.
Rope walk is 98.
Yeah, the rope walk, that's why I didn't get the rope walk, because it's a little bit on the expensive side for mine.
Yeah, but see, it's got more gears and all
Well,
in it.
the advantage to his is you can either make 3-strand or 4-strand, because he gives you both sets of wheels to do that with his. Whereas
Might be
this
fun to
just
try and
has
put
you-
one together.
There is a difference in the rope walk made rope. There really is.
Seems like it's been down for a while. Is he back up and running now?
He had COVID last week.
Okay.
And the week before that, he was on vacation, came back one day, came down with COVID. So he,
One thing I'll add is that, if you are gonna drill power that rope walk, you should spray that thing with WD-40.
yes.
All right, well, I guess that wraps up our meeting. Thanks, everyone, for coming in or joining us online.
Okay.
And
Josh, I'll see you
I'll get him on.
in 4 weeks.
Greg, thanks for hosting. It was a great meeting.
Thank you very much.
thanks for joining us, Mark.
See you, Riley.
Pleasure. Thank
Everyone.
you.
A little bit.
All right, bye.
I think I'm.
We're gonna do lunch.